I mean, okay, we are live. And again, interesting technical challenges here. So we're just going to go for it. And at this point, I am flying blind, so everybody understand that I can't see what you see. So hopefully it's more than just a pulsating logo.
Is
And
there anybody in that you can ask? Do you have the chat on?
I've got the Q&A in.
Hmm.
Nobody, I don't even see you there. Normally
I
there's,
can see me and you,
how
so
fascinating.
I'm wondering if, and also if you don't see me on your side, I'm wondering if it's being recorded, if I'm being recorded.
Right, and I have no idea. This is the first time this one has happened.
Well, I have
Uh,
another question for you. In the
yeah,
past, when I talk, would you see me? Would I show up on the big screen for you?
yes, yeah.
Because that's another interesting thing is I don't have you highlighted in any way, yet it doesn't flip back and forth for me. So
It doesn't.
it's no, which is interesting because it should, but it
Right.
doesn't.
Oh, bizarre.
But
Uh,
anyway, all is good.
oh,
All is
yeah,
good.
yeah. It kind of going hand in hand with all the stuff that is flying around and in the universe these days. It's quite fascinating.
Well, a lot to do with what we're maybe going to talk about today too, huh?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes. And taking action about breaking things down into little steps. And the
Mhm.
question that I have heard more and more this week has been astounding how many times I've heard this from literally all over the globe of I know there's things I need to do. I know it. I feel it. And yet I can't take that step. What do you do? Oh, that's a great one because we're presenting the elephant. We're saying, look, isn't it beautiful? This is where we're going. Different ways of viewing the elephant. And we've given a few action steps, little bites of the elephant. But what really came to me today as I was pondering all of these, what is the box of tools that we're giving people? What are the steps, the little bite-sized pieces? And what I'm struggling to put all of this into words, so I hope that everybody will bear with me. And Michaela, I trust that you will interject as you feel moved.
Hmm.
As I was writing the document out, which I was in the process of uploading onto the website for our
Mhm.
viewers, is that we kind of have a Pandora's box of these are the things that I know we need to do, each and every single solitary one of us, at some point in our journey to help move us forward. And yet they're the things that we don't want to do the most. Why we don't want to do them the most is because of the limiting beliefs that keep
Right.
us from doing those things. Okay, so big picture
Nobody
here.
wants to do their laundry, and
No,
nobody wants to clean the house.
exactly.
You know.
And this is where third chakra comes in
Mhm.
and that energy center of our willpower, about our personal power, about the empowerment piece, about us actually having a say in what goes on in our life instead of playing the victim. And it's that third
You know what?
chakra.
I want to. I'm really sorry, Jennifer, but I do need to stop you. And
Okay.
because everything you're saying is really good, but I think it's a little step ahead of what I want to that I want to preface.
Okay, great.
We know a lot of people who own their own business. We know a lot of entrepreneurs,
Yes.
and many of them were successes long before we met them.
Yes.
And those people that were either small successes or large successes, they just continue to be success after success after success. We
Yes.
also know people that started when we did that are still going through that hamster wheel of they're looking at the same stuff, they're looking at the same positive, like positive thought webinars or basic webinars, or they're reading the same kind of books over and over and over again, and how to start a business or how to break out the beliefs. And they're still, they're people that have a lot of tools already in their toolbox. But instead of getting out there and doing it the way we're doing it now, like we've actually turned the tables, and now we're giving this stuff instead of receiving it.
Yes.
Those people, those type of friends are still going through that hamster wheel. And to get to the very heart of the matter there is you've got to decide what it is you want to do, and that's the only thing you have to get clear on, is what you want to do. Because if you're saying that you don't want to, that you know what it is you have to do, and you know you have to do the stuff, but I'm not doing it, you don't know. You still don't know what it is you want. Because if you really know what you want to do, you'd be doing it.
Yes.
And you'd be doing it with shining. And I will give right now, I'm working on a project. It's in an animal welfare niche. And I'll tell you, I sat on that project for 3 years. I did nothing with it. And I didn't have a vision, and I kept saying, I have to do it. I know what I should do, but I didn't know. I didn't know what it was that I should do or what I wanted to do. When I finally got really clear on it, and this, I'm going to put it back to you in just a moment, Jennifer, because this is where it's putting one step in front of the other.
Yes.
We don't always know how to swim. But
yes.
unless we walk into the water and give it a try, we'll figure out how our arms work and how our legs work. But we know we really want to swim, so we go and we do it. And if you can't even put your feet in the water, then you didn't ever really want to swim in the first place.
Yes.
And that's what it took me. It took me to set up my website, to start blogging, to actually let go of some money and start doing some paid advertising campaigns, to just let go of that fear, because there was this fear raging. But I also had somebody on the other side saying, that's right, you can do it. And here's somebody else in a different niche that did exactly what you're doing, and you can do it. And I'll tell you, it's flying now. It's flying. I'm getting.
No pun intended.
Oh yeah, it's flying. Yes, it's true. So the thing is, if you're saying that you don't, that you know what you need to do, but you can't get yourself to do it, you don't know what you want. You still don't know, because when you know, you're gonna you will move forward.
Yes,
and you won't worry about all those mistakes.
Yes.
Now is the and.
Yes.
Giving it back to you.
Absolutely. Oh, yes. I can't begin to put words around how much I appreciate you.
Oh, I feel that way too. I know. It's amazing. It was like, we would have been a comedy team if we had been 50 years earlier.
Oh,
right?
My God. Oh, they would have banned us from any sort of media. Are you kidding? Anyway, yes, the and part, which is what the document is about, is those little things that you have to shift in your life if you want to get the answers to why you want. What is it that you want to do? A lot of people are just feeling, I have this, I know I'm called for something more, but I don't know what it is. I don't know why I can't seem to get out of my own way. And that's because your why isn't big enough. Your why isn't clear. Just exactly, excuse me, boy, so much of this is coming up because you aren't clear on what your why is. And sometimes figuring out your why is your right now, as you are right now, can be the most daunting task in the face of the planet. And that's where this document comes in. It is literally opening up Pandora's box and taking things out one by one. You have to do these things to get your body, mind, and spirit aligned. And until you start getting your body, mind, and spirit aligned, your why will not come out. And your why, when it first comes out, may not be what you think it is, because your why, when it first comes out, may be what you think you're supposed to do. And this is where you simply have to trust the process. So what we have created, and I am bringing you in on this energetically, Michaela, because I know that what I was feeling.
I've already seen it energetically, I think.
Okay, because I know what I was sitting here processing was far more than just me. Okay, and we're going to step back from that. And it is calling people to action, to commit to themselves, to practice their own willpower, which is making a conscious choice here and bringing it down into their heart, saying, yes, I don't understand, and I'm going to trust in this process, and I commit 5 minutes a day. That's all. 5 minutes every day for at least 7 days to do one thing out of this list that I've listed off, and I'm going to actually make people go to it. I'm not going to give it to them. You've got to take action. Even it is so simple as going to a link and clicking it. It's action. Yes. And that document, as you read through it, you're going to get to the end of it, and I'm either going to piss you off or I'm going to excite you. Either way, you're going to take action. You're either going
to take action.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And that moves you.
And remember last week it was all about the yeah buts, and now this week it's about the yes and.
Exactly.
It's not the yes but it's the yes and.
Absolutely.
You know, that language. I haven't even seen a document. I think I've seen it energetically because everything you're saying looks, I can see it like words over your head. But it has to do with our language. We can go to the very, very basics of our language. And if you're saying, I don't know why, have you ever practiced an instrument? Or have you ever learned a sport? If you stood there saying, I can't, absolutely you won't be able to do it.
Exactly.
But if you practice and fall down, or you make mistakes, and you play it over and over again, and then all of a sudden it breaks through and you move forward. As long as you are rehearsing and practicing, I don't know, you're going to get really good at not knowing.
Yes. Absolutely. And these are simple things, like committing 5 minutes a day to writing. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. That's like less than the time that it takes you to drink a cup of coffee, me and my coffee. Oh my gosh, I've caught so much flack for that. I can't even begin to tell you. It is hilarious. I love it. But even in that, people are taking action. They are saying something. It's like, okay, so now move it into the doing. And I'm finding that people, it's almost as if they need the kick in the butt. Okay, not a problem. I will hold you and love you and squeeze you and kick your ass. Not a problem. And you can choose to either take it and move, or continue and stand there and take the kicks, or stop talking to me. It's your choice. I would suggest taking action, one side of the fence or the other, because not only will you feel better because I'm no longer within kicking range, but you will feel better also. And I intentionally use the word but, even though and is more appropriate, but it truly is an either or. You will feel better because you are taking action for yourself. I'm sorry that this is like the culmination of so much frustration that I've been hearing from people and that I've been feeling myself. It's like, I'm too busy. I don't have time. Like, oh, you have 5 minutes. I guarantee you've got 5 minutes. Take a notebook into the bathroom with you and write for 5 minutes. And you can write, I don't know what to write. I don't know what to write. I don't know what to write.
I love it.
And that's fine, because then you use all of those words on the piece of paper and you're no longer throwing them out there with your action center, with your manifestation powers. You're actually getting it out. Okay, now there's room for something else to come in.
And asking the question, too, is what is the outcome if I don't do it? What's the outcome if I don't take action? There's a woman that was a potential client of mine that I really needed to set aside, because when she met me, she said, I know that we can make millions together. I know that we can do this. I know that we can do that. And then when I tried to get her focused, it was all over the place, and this and this and this. And then I'd say, Fridays are always committed. And every single Thursday night, she'd call me and say, let's make an appointment on Friday. It's like putting obstacles in the way. Just, being aware. It's basic awareness.
Yes. And I
and
would,
getting that clarity.
yes, and I would almost bet that she has no idea that she's doing it. And she won't be able to hear you if you point it out.
I pointed it out a few times,
Did
and
she hear you?
the look of shock on her face was like, wow. And then it was like completely off again. And
Yeah.
we're trying to talk about something very clear about one project here. She's all talking about, I said, wait a minute, give me 2 more minutes
Hello.
because we haven't come to this one yet. No, but this over here, we're all over this. And, sometimes it's an illness. Okay, I'll give anybody that. Sometimes it's an illness. But we need to recognize when we have these illnesses or these dis-eases.
Yes.
The dis-ease, because we don't need to turn it into a disease. We need to, really just get very clear. There's I've told you, Jen, months ago, I think when we first started to do some of these practice ones, I told you the story of the multimillionaire that lives in my neighborhood here. And every time I see him, I had coffee with him one day, and I said, yeah, hey, Martin, a lot of people are coming to me and saying that they're not motivated to do something, and I want to talk, how do you motivate yourself? And he looked at me like I was a green monster with two heads. He said, what? He said, I never think about motivation. He said, I know exactly what I want to do and where I want to accomplish, and I do it. And I thought that's it, going back to being really clear on what it is we want and knowing that wishing is not enough.
Yep.
You've got to put one foot in front of the other to get there.
Yep. And
Can't
we
learn
all
to
have
swim on the side of the pool.
No, you can't. And we all have to go through that learning process, and it means being flat on our face sometimes, because that's where we learn the lessons. That's where we decide whether it's really what we want to do or not. And you talk about this project that you've had on your plate for the last 3 years, and it didn't go anywhere until you finally realized that is what I want. My story is very similar, and it is surprise around tapping in the chakras. It's something that I've drawn pictures of. I've written, I know what my bookcase looks like of all the books that I want to write. I know the class syllabus, all of this stuff. And I've known this for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And each time I turn around, each time I fall on my face, it's right there. It's like, you're not doing what you want to do. Oh man, not this again. Yes, this again. This is your calling. This is your soul saying, I need fulfillment through this. Why aren't you doing it? It's like, oh, because I'm afraid to. Oh, okay, so you're afraid to. Why are you afraid? And so then the dialogue starts. Notice how many times you come back to the same thought, the same idea. And notice what gets put up as a filter between you and that idea. Those are your yabbits. Those are your blocks. Those are the things you get to work on to release, to break open that veil to actually get to what it is that will fulfill your life in this stage. Now, does that mean that it's the end-all be-all? I don't know. I don't really think so. I think we cycle through things. But I'm not sure. I can only use myself as an example. I have cycled through things where I will accomplish my goal in one area, which will then morph into or take on a whole nother layer into another area. So it's very fascinating. What I thought was my first initial, this is what I want to do with my life, isn't anywhere close to that. But I had to be willing to look at the tough questions and ask, okay, so where is it that I'm supposed to be focusing? If this isn't it, which I really feel like it is, why isn't this happening? What am I doing to keep this from happening? What should I be doing to make this happen? And the answers kept coming back. Take another look at it. Take a deeper look. What is your motivation? Why do you want this? And my motivation was wrong. My reasoning for wanting this was wrong. It wasn't aligned with who I was. It was aligned with who I had been, but it wasn't aligned with who I was.
So, Jen, I have got this bursting question for you.
Let it free.
A lot of whys have come up, and we're asking people to address their whys. And you've got a very special worksheet for people this week. And I want to ask, why is it important for them to retrieve this and look at it?
Oh, I love you. Because it will give them actual action steps to take. Not only is it the act of retrieving it, which is an action step, which tells your subconscious, it tells your conscious mind, it also tells the universe that, yes, I believe that I am worth taking action for. That's the first part. The second part is within that document, there are certain things that you will need to address at some point of your journey when you are really ready to move forward. And we've broken it down into very small pieces, as well as given a commitment that they have to commit to themselves. Whatever they decide within these choices, they're committing to do this for 7 full days. And what that is doing is putting it out there not only to themselves again, but to the universe that, yes, I am serious. I am standing here. I'm drawing a line in the sand, whatever you want to put to it, and I am taking action. And it puts it into a very small, manageable piece that anybody can. They're serious about wanting to move forward, to find their why, to move past whatever is in their way, to get clarity on their why, to get clarity on whatever else is up for them. But this forces them to take action and have an action plan. They don't have to create the action plan. They have to go get the action plan, they have to commit to the action plan, and then they have to do the action plan.
So that may sound very scary for some people, and I'm going to bring it personal here for a second. When I was younger, I loved to read, and in fact, I do love reading. I love writing. And anything that was comprehensive, like a nice thick book, I used to love it because I'd say, wow, there's a lot of meat in here. I really got my money's worth out of it. But the older I get, and the more things that are on my plate, and the more things that the tasks that need to be done for my work, for my everyday life, I start getting nervous. And I think, oh no, if it's too long, I can't do it. I need something short and quick and simple.
Yes.
And so I'm wondering, is this comprehensive for those comprehensive people that want hundreds of pages, or is this something simple and direct and to the point?
It is a 3-page document that explains where I'm coming from and why I'm saying the things that I'm doing. This also gives an explanation of what I'm talking about, and then the final page is about actual commitment form. So it is very quick and easy.
Quick and easy, direct to the point, and
Absolutely.
there's no excuse for not doing
it. It's in big font. And yeah, no, it's not. It is not my doctoral thesis. It's not one of my books. It is simply this is what's up for many people on the face of the planet, and I have condensed it into Cliff Notes minus about 5 pages, and here you go. And the other thing is if people are watching and they aren't moved to answer or to go and download it, that's okay. This was not.
They're not ready.
No, they're not, and that's okay.
It's okay not to be ready. It's
exactly.
Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that hamster wheel either. As long as you are aware that that we are creating ourselves. It's not there. Going back to last week in the blame game, you can't blame anybody else for that stuff, because when we point a finger, remember what happens to that finger?
Exactly.
3 other fingers pointing right back at ourselves. We need to take responsibility for all of our actions.
Yep.
You know what? I'm so sorry. I keep jumping in and interrupting you, but
you're okay.
And it's funny. You even said big font, which made me laugh, because I don't know. You can see me, can you? And I hope the audience can see me. But I had a very wonderful experience this morning. I inherited my mother's desk with all of her things on it. And strangely enough, my mother died about 4 years ago, and she was an older woman. And she had all these tiny little prayers all over the place, and she had little pieces of paper and stuff, and I find notes. And the strange thing is, I have no idea how it got there, but I found a very old piece of paper, as I'm showing everybody right now, that has very tiny font, such tiny font that I had to get my glasses to read it. And I don't know where it came from. It was lying on the floor of my kitchen this morning when I woke up. I live alone, by the way. And so I took this out and I looked, and my mother's writing is on the back. I know my mother's handwriting. I can't even read it because her handwriting was so bad. But you know what? She wrote it in Latin, and we won't even go there. But this, I want to read it to everybody. Is that okay? Would you like to hear it, everybody? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. It's entitled God's Minute. I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon me, can't refuse it. Didn't seek it, didn't choose it. But it's up to me to use it. I must suffer if I lose it. Give account if I abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but eternity is in it. And this was written, I think, by a nun, a Catholic nun from the Benedictine convent in Missouri. Oh, I just got chills. I just realized this was written by a friend of my mother's. And I have never seen this. I have never seen this. I know that it was written, and she's had it since before I was born. I can tell by the kind of paper it is and everything. But it was very powerful, and everything that we've been talking about. You know, when we realize that we have a finite amount of time, that is also a really good reason why to move forward.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. The finding the scrap of paper on the floor when there's no one else around.
Yeah.
The tap on your shoulder when you know there's nobody else there.
Yes.
The words that are whispered directly behind you when there's nothing but a wall there. The pull in your gut that takes you a different path home, that you end up coming face to face with someone that you've been thinking about for a while. All of those, it is so time. It is time. And Michaela, I want to honor the fact that we set a half an hour for today, and we are at that point.
Choked up there, Jen. You got me choked up.
Absolutely fabulous. So, there's nothing else. I love you. I wish the best for everyone.
We only have a minute. Don't abuse it. Don't lose it. Make the most of every moment. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, everybody.
Michaela.
Aloha.
All right. Bye-bye.